All right, good morning, guys. My name is Devon Darby, and this is The Gentleman's Look. Again, if you're new to the channel, this is supposed to be, or not supposed to be, but this is a channel that discusses everything that involves being a respectable gentleman. This is very important in this world, and it can go a long way, regardless of your hustle and things that you are valuing in the world. Who you are as a man, what you stand for, what you believe in, and how you carry yourself will take you further than you ever could imagine. All right, guys. It's hard not to touch on what's going on in the world right now because it's definitely thrown in front of your face, and a lot of people are fearing. A lot of people have anxiety of the unknown, what to come, what they can expect, and how to prepare for it. I want to talk about what I love to talk about because it is the only answer and it is the truth. And you have to keep throwing the truth into people's face because no matter what, the truth is going to get thrown into your face, even if you ignore it. We have to understand that God is still who He is. He's still who He is, and He always will be. I want to talk to all of those who have faith, all of the Christians in the world, everybody who has faith, some form of faith. This is not a time for you to hide behind stocking up on groceries and, stocking up on anything that you feel is going to keep you and your family safe. I want you to understand that there's nothing you can do. If it's God's will for whatever, there's nothing you can do really to protect yourself from God's will. What you need to be doing is acknowledging who God is and asking for the strength to still do God's work no matter what adversity that you face. We will get through this. It's not a question of, are we even going to be able to get through this? We will. We will get through this. God didn't promise anything bad not to happen to people, but we will get through this. But the understanding of is this a wake-up call for people to understand how they're living and what correction needs to be made. Again, we always like to focus on the events of the world and make it question, when the world is coming to an end and all these different things. But you have to understand that this whole world is a spiritual warfare. It's a spiritual warfare. And these are things that you heard before, but I guess a lot of people have to continue to keep hearing it until they can stick. You're caught in the middle of a spiritual warfare, and everything that goes on in the world is the warfare between good and evil, and you're just caught in the middle of it. So it doesn't matter how many tragic events you experience, both our ancestors and both the people who are living today. Everything that you're experiencing is the results of spiritual warfare that you're just caught up in the middle of. And for God's people to be here caught up in the middle of it, you're supposed to be God's soldiers, God's light in times of darkness. And you have to be an extension of God. So you can't shut up in your houses and shut up in whatever corners that you're in and not be a shining light in the time of darkness. You have to go out there and you have to do God's work no matter what's going on. Let me take my time a little bit with this one because it's not just a touchy topic, but it's truth, and I wanted to penetrate any of those who are stuck in fear and anxiety. Fear is definitely crippling. It's crippling, and you're not supposed to fear. And I'm talking even to myself. I acknowledge sometimes, when fear comes in, but you have to call on God's name and let Him renew you and let Him make you a new creature. You can't do or go through this life by yourself. You can't. And it doesn't matter how rich you are or how many properties you own or how many cars you own or how much investments you have and all these monies that you have saved up. Something like what's happening right now just shows you that none of that means anything because none of those things can actually protect you or save you from anything. But it's God's grace and God's glory and God's mercy, that can be instilled in you to help you to go through anything that you're going to be faced with and do it at peace. I don't suggest that people worry. everything is going to be okay. Everything is under God's will. Good or bad, everything is under God's will and is working for your greater good. Everything that happens is for your greater good. And God does not give to you the way the world gives. So it's easy for you to question the things that are going on in the earth. And if God was who he is, why would he allow certain things to happen? But God is working in a system that is not known to you yet. You understand what I'm trying to say? Certain tragic events or certain views that we have about tragedies, it's not the same in God's system. The way God sees things, it ain't the same way you see it. So where you might be so scared and so afraid of certain things that's happening, it's not so much of a scary thing to God, because he's doing everything for a greater purpose. And he knows how much you can take and what you can't take. I'm trying to take my time because I want you guys to really hear me out. For those who are taking the time to listen to the video. We're all the spirits. We all are spirits. And we're just placed into this flesh to come on this earth and do the things that we're supposed to do in this body. God is not so much, caught up on your flesh or he's caught up on who you are. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew you. So he's caught up on who you are as the spirit. And he's placed you in this flesh to do the things that you need to do. Are you doing that? That's all I can say. Are you doing that? It doesn't matter what adversity you're facing in the world. Are you doing what you're called to do? And being so afraid that it cripples you and stops your brain, the God-given, mechanism that he's blessed you to have to use to do magical things. If you're going to let this fear cripple you from doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, then you're not on the right side of this spiritual warfare. You have to be who you are, no matter what's going on, because God has already won. He's already won whatever you feel that you might be facing. He's already won that. So everything that you're facing is a result of evil's anger, that he's lost the battle, and he's just trying to make sure that you fear enough to cripple yourself and give in to the ways of the world and not the victory that God has already obtained. I hope I'm not talking over anybody, but again, a lot of people who are spiritual based, or God based, understand who God is. I'm not really saying anything that you don't know, but I'm just trying to remind you and everyone else, and in myself, this is not a time to be afraid of anything. You have to get up and you take one day at a time, and whatever recommendations is being, given to the masses, it's basic things that as a God-fearing person you should be doing anyway. Being clean and washing your hands and not being a savage pretty much, or a dirty individual. Considering others, these are things that we should be doing anyway. But God has a way of doing what he needs to do to get things the way they need to be. And if casualties happen, it's a really, really sad thing. But one thing I can say that everybody knows is the wages of sin is death, and we all have a time. How we go, when we go, we don't know. And we don't need to know that. Because if you knew that, would you really live your life the way God meant for you to live if you knew all of those things? A lot of things are not meant to be known. It's not. It's not meant to be known. The end all and be alls is not meant to be known. And a lot of people are fearing right now because they're afraid of the unknown. They don't know what's to come. And you're not supposed to know. And that's what you have to understand. You're supposed to just live your life on a day-to-day basis and do what you got to do and take whatever precautions you need to take. But understand that God is in control of everything. And things that you are seeing right now, despite what you're hearing on the news or despite what you're hearing from other people people that have came before us have gone through similar or even worse things. I don't care what they want to tell you. This understand that this is not new. And that's why this is a spiritual warfare, because it's a constant effort from evil to get you to self-destruct and turn against the ways of God, of God's kingdom. And you don't do that. You don't do that. Because then you would have a reason to fear, because now you're living, and whatever suffering or whatever it is that you endure, which God tells us that we have to endure, whatever it is that you endure will be in vain. There will be no purpose. You know, it will be no purpose. And God doesn't do anything without a purpose. So the smile on your face should come from knowing that God is not going to do anything that's not going to benefit you. And the smile should also come on your face by knowing that there's more to this world than what you thought it was. You know, you don't have any control. It don't matter how hard you work in life or how many jobs you have. You're not really securing your success. There's nothing that you can do on an individual level, personally, for yourself, to secure your future. That there's already a higher power working for your greater good, and only requests a few things from you, which is to live righteous. The smile should come on your face that that's all is requested of you. To be clean, to consider your neighbor, to follow God's commandments, to not steal, to not kill, to honor your mother and your father, to worship God and only God, no matter what's going on. You know, considering your neighbors and all these things is all that God has been teaching you. Before the news has told you to consider people and to be clean and wash your hands, and all these little things that's going to continue to be enforced to you as things continue to happen, or until God is ready to stop everything. They're going to keep recommending things to you that God already recommends. He already told you how to live. So please, I mean, understand who God is, and if you haven't fully, you know, gave yourself or fully committed to who God is and say, you know what, I want to live under you. I want you to live through me. I want you to show me the ways, you know, increase my wisdom and help me to understand how to live. If you haven't done that, I think you should do it now. And don't worry about what God feels. Oh, I wonder if God's going to feel, just because I'm afraid that I'm doing this now. Make a conscious decision in your heart and make this decision and do it. God is not going to reject you. But what he can read is if you're just not sincere about your approach. Make a decision on what side you want to be on. You have to. I mean, you have to. And stop waiting for worldly events to happen to make you want to come together and I don't know, seek some type of comfort in other people, because that's what it's really about. But the real comfort comes from God, and as long as God gives you the comfort and takes away your fear, now you can be that light again in a time of darkness and provide comfort to other people. This world is not as complicated as it seems. This world is very simple, and it's only evil that is complicating things to make you feel like what's happening is much bigger than what it really is. Your job, your house, where your food comes from, where your clothes come from, you know, all these things is not a big deal. God already understands what you need. That's why he doesn't want you to have anxiety about where your food's going to come from or where your clothes are going to come from. He knows these things. What he wants to know is, are you focusing on him? Evil will make you think about all of these other things. Where's my heat? Where's my water? Where's my gas? Oh, what's going to happen? What's going on? God knows. You don't think God knows about these things? He knows that. And he's been providing for his people when they had nothing for ages. Don't get so jaded about what's happening. Don't get so jaded. Just focus on God, because at the end of the day, when you gave up on all of your abilities and you feel like all of your abilities have been taken away from you, because they can. I mean, what is you? Who are you? When all the abilities have been taken away from you, what are you left with? To rely on God's abilities. So why would you put God as last resort? The creator of all things, the creator of all things, good or bad. He who can send evil spirits and send good spirits. He does it all. He can control everything. He could bring about tornadoes, earthquakes. He could bring about disease. He can take it away. He can take away disease, take away earthquakes, take away tornadoes, take away all pestilence, all disasters. And he can put it back. Why would you put this entity, this God, the only God, to the back burner? There's been people before all of us who have tried to, talk about these things and instill it in people. And there's a reason why a lot of times they don't last long on the earth. A lot of times they have just fulfilled what they needed to do, and it's up for you to take that and pass it along. But when God is done with you and you have fulfilled or completed the thing that you were supposed to complete, he'll remove you. And sometimes, we look at it as, evil has always, managed to prevail when it comes to shutting up people who are righteous and talking truth. But God is in control of everything. So if God is through with you, God feels like you've done enough or whatever he wanted you to do, he'll take you. You give too much credit to evil and not enough credit to God. Yes, this is a time of anxiety. This is a time where the average person will be afraid and will be, fearful. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're not doing nothing by promoting fear, and you're not doing nothing by hiding in your houses and stocking up on whatever it is that you're stocking up on. It's okay to buy things that you need. Buy the things that you need. But I don't think you should wipe out shelves or wipe out anything thinking that you're securing yourself or your future. I'm not against you. I went and bought the things that, me and my fiance, we bought things that our family needs, but it's not done with a notion that it's going to protect us from anything. You just buy what the house needs. We all need to eat. We all need to bathe, and we all need, some of the necessities. But never once is it supposed to cross your mind that this is going to save me. Nothing can save you but God. Nothing. If there was a tsunami anywhere, how much toilet tissue would save you from a tsunami? How much toilet tissue, apple cider, paper towels, groceries, anything that you're buying, alcohol, sanitizers, what would save you from a earthquake, a devastating earthquake? Who's going to be really worried about wiping their butt during an earthquake? The whole purpose of my channel, I'm into fashion. I love fashion. I love, classic menswear. But I wanted to use my passion to practice myself and teach the ways of God, the way he teaches me and the way he works with me. I try to share everything in my process and what I'm taught by God to share with other people. And we all talk about it and create a dialogue that's meaningful. Unmeaningful conversations don't go nowhere. We need to talk about things that will really, really bring us to where we need to be. Now, guys, it's not common for people to come together in a time like this. And then when they feel safe again, then everybody go back their separate ways. And this type of hypocrisy is not pleasing to God. And it only evokes more anger in God, because it's only but so long God is going to keep bringing things back, the way they're supposed to be, or back to a level of sustainability before he just shuts down the whole show completely, indefinitely. This hypocrisy in the ways that people, contradict their faith and beliefs, it has to stop. Will it stop? I don't know. People have a way of doing things when they feel safe or feel secure, or feel up in life. And then they have a way of showing their true colors when they are vulnerable. God is real. It doesn't matter if whatever happens, it doesn't matter what you face. God is real. And fear is crippling. Everybody is fearful of something that is inevitable anyway. We all have a day. We all have a time. We don't know when and we don't know how, and we're not supposed to know. Stop being fearful. Stop being afraid. God is not afraid. God doesn't have fear. These things are, He didn't bless you with fear. If He didn't give it to you, that means He doesn't have it. God didn't give you fear. Fear is a tactic used by evil to stop you from being who you are. Not only do you have to pray, but you have to meditate. Now, meditating is not, like, trust me, if that's what you have to do to get inside yourself, go ahead and do it, man. I'm not really worried or concerned with how you do it. But just understand that meditating is thinking about all that you've been through, how you've overcome it. Give it God thanks in the process of everything that you realize that you've overcame and how you overcame it. And then you think some more about where you are and how you got here. You think about the feelings that you have and how'd you come to those feelings. And then you thank God for all that you have. And you just reflect on you, who you are, what you appreciate about yourself. What do you feel that you can work on? And the things that you realize that you need to work on, how did you get to a point where these things became a weakness for you? And then the more you reflect on yourself, the more answers God will give you. And when God gives you the answers of the things that you found out while you're meditating, then you just thank God again. Thank you, Lord, for that. And then you think some more about yourself. You have to know who you are, man. Don't forget, this flesh is just it's something for your spirit to be in, so that you can enter a sinful world and carry out the things that you need to carry out. But you're perfect in your spirit. Your spirit is perfect. Your flesh is sinful. But if you can meditate and pray, then God will make you a new creature. And you'll be able to overcome the temptations of the flesh. Because the flesh is sinful. That's why when Jesus Christ came here, He died. He had to die. He doesn't have to die in the spirit, in the spiritual realm, or in the spiritual, in the kingdom. He doesn't have to die. Dying is a sinful behavior or outcome. Dying is not known in the kingdom. So your perfect spirit is inside of a sinful body, and you have to get in tune with yourself and try to get one with your spirit, and that's the goal, to get one with your spirit so that you can do the things that your spirit wants to do on this earth, that is called to do while you're in this sinful flesh, and be a light in times of darkness, because the world has evil in it. And you're supposed to turn as many people away from evil ways, because that's the goal of evil, is to turn as many people towards evil ways and oppose the ways of God, so that you won't be saved. Because you are saved. I hope, man, I hope you guys, you are saved. That's why He's telling you don't fear. That's why He's telling you don't, have anxiety or worry about anything, because you are saved. But only you can change that by letting evil and fear plague you to join in on any pestilence, on any type of sinful things that happens in the world due to increased anxiety and increased, paranoia. God said it's okay to be, upset or being distressed about certain things, but don't partake in the things that you see. Don't partake in the pestilence. If people get violent for whatever reasons, don't partake in it. It might even make you yell out or cry out to God, can you stop this? Can you stop this? But don't partake in it. It'll make you yell out because your spirit is perfect and your spirit does not condone any of that. And your spirit is being entered into a sinful world. So it's seeing things that is opposing its nature. Because it doesn't come from that. It had to enter into a world of that. So it's going to cry out because it's opposing things that is not of its nature. Naturally. So don't look at it as I'm afraid or I'm scared. The spirit is just responding in a way that's not known to your flesh. In your flesh, you make your conscience or whatever it is that you developed from the worldly ways. You make decisions for the flesh, but the spirit, once you get in connection with your spirit, it's going to make decisions for you. And the spirit, it doesn't fear. The spirit doesn't care about anything but God. So it's going to do anything but and everything for God. And that's why God tells you in the flesh, don't fear, don't fear, don't fear. He's trying to talk you into your way of connecting with your spirit. He's trying to teach you what your spirit already knows. He has to tell you these things. You don't have to tell the spirit that. Nah, God doesn't have to tell you. When you return to God, He doesn't have to tell you, don't fear. You're just not. But because you're in this sinful world, and He has to teach you the things that the Spirit already knows. So take heed and pay attention. This video is a little lengthy, and I don't mind because for those who choose to take the time to listen to it, if your heart is open, you'll be glad you did. You're more powerful than you think you are, man. And evil knows that. And that's why evil will do anything and everything that your human or your fleshy, body cannot withstand to make you give in. Because he can't do it to the spirit. Because the spirit will just look at it like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. The spirit will just look like, are you serious? If you don't stop this, I'm going to tell my father. And then he'll just run away like, oh, okay. But to the flesh, he knows that a lot of us let fear take us over. So we don't know how to connect it and look at pestilence or look at diseases or look at, earthquakes or natural disasters like, if you don't stop tormenting people, I'm going to tell my father. We don't know how to carry that. And God wants you to carry yourself like that. Right now, you just, as an American or as a European or wherever you are, all of us, our lifestyles, we're starting to really see how certain ways that we have adopted of success and whatever self-control we think we had, we're starting to see that none of that was true. We're starting to see it, but the sad thing sometimes is when things go back to normal, we go back to those ways. And we anger God more and more. We anger Him and anger Him and anger Him. And when God's anger is kindled too much, whoa. You ever thought why people say, things like that? When crazy things happen in the world, we just go, whoa. Yeah, woe was a real word in the Bible, man. great woes to the world for people who do oppose God. Your body was naturally designed to praise God. That's why people who believe or even don't believe, when they have bad things that happen to them or they see really bad things that happen in the world, the first thing they say is, oh my God, oh my God, naturally. You think about that, I'm sure. But you're not supposed to say God's name in vain. So if you're going to call on him, there should be some type of righteousness behind that. Don't just call on his name without any purpose. Again, God doesn't do anything in vain. He doesn't do anything without a purpose. So question yourself during these times, and even when we get through these times, whatever comes after that, because it's a constant spiritual warfare until God's ready to come for his. Question yourself, what are you doing? What am I doing? In vain. What are you doing without a purpose? If you really question yourself, if I really question myself, I question myself already. And I still question a lot of things. We need to do this. A lot of us will come to the conclusion that we're doing a lot in vain. We're not doing a lot of things that's outside of ourselves. We're doing a lot of things for ourselves. And as long as we continue to do that, we will end up by ourselves. And we're not meant to be alone. Everything that we're doing is having us by ourselves. We don't really see it because we're so wrapped up in doing these things, but when it's all said and done, if you're not living with a greater purpose, living for God, you're going to be by yourself. You can't trick God. You can't try to act like you're about unity or community or righteous living and togetherness in times of a pandemic or, a natural disaster or any pestilence that happens in the world, terrorist attacks. You can't fake like you're part of unity or community. Because God's people go into these situations with these ideals and understanding and shed light on darkness. But if you're on the fence about things and you wait for natural disasters or any type of world pandemic or anything to happen, if you're on the fence, that means that your light is dim. And if there's a time of darkness, do you want a dim light or do you want a bright light? A dim light won't allow you to really see where you're going. A bright light will definitely let you know what's ahead, how to prepare for it. You'll see everything. Everything. God's people are bright lights. Why would you put a bright light in dark corners of your house or dark corners of the world, where you can't shine on people? Why would you do a bunch of vain actions and stock up on things to make yourself feel like you and yours is safe and you're better than your neighbor? And that you've done everything to protect yourself and now you provided your own security. If you're a God-fearing person, why would you stay anywhere and bottle up in fear if you're a shining bright light? You need to be out there. You need to go out there. You need to talk to people. When I created this channel, this is what it was about. I use fashion because that's my interest. And I asked God, how can I use my passions and things that I love to also get your message across? Whether I've done a great job or a good job or a bad job, I'm trying. And I know it's hitting the people that it needs to hit. It's not about views. It's not about, well, it is about views. I want people to see it. But it's not about views for money or any type of endorsement or whatever. Talking about it is crazy because it's like, wow, you know. I think YouTube is great because it allows you to reach a lot of people from, you know, one location. Until you can have other platforms to, you know, to do God's work. But God's work can be done from anywhere. You know, as long as you're doing God's work, He's going to bless what you're doing to reach whoever it needs to reach. Don't fear, guys. Don't fear. Live your life. When you wake up in the morning, thank God for waking up. Thank Him for everything that you have, for the job that you still have, and just ask God to show you what to do during these times and whatever times that come after this, once everything is okay again. Through all your struggles. And wake up each day and do the same thing. Just live your life. There's people across the world that wake up. You see how you're waking up with this type of anxiety? There's people across the world that wake up with this type of anxiety for many reasons. And they've been doing it for years. People who live in these war zones and people who live in these areas where there's constant terrorist attacks and threats to their humanity and society. There's people that have been experiencing this type of anxiety every day, so much so that they just made it a part of their daily living. And you're getting a taste of the anxiety, but have a little bit more hope because a lot of them don't come from the countries that we come from that have the equipments that we have and technologies and all these things to allow you to even have hope. So a lot of them are pulling from hope from their spiritual beliefs, practicing things that was forced upon them and that you need to understand that is most important for you to do as well. I love you all and I always have. Love yourself. Love your neighbors. And make your mission on this earth to try to be just like God. And make that your only mission. What do I mean by this before I close this video? When you wake up in the morning, try to be just like God. When you get in your car to go to work, try to be just like God. Thank God for the vehicle that man was blessed to be able to create to bring you to different parts of the world to do God's work. What that leads me to, when you get to work, be just like God. That's one of the best environments because you're amongst so many different people that you can talk to God about or practice your godly ways with. Helping people do this, helping people do that, speaking to them in a righteous way. When somebody has a bad day, actually caring about what's going on with them, giving them words of encouragement. On your lunch break, thanking God for the food that you have, asking that it be nourishment to your body and not create any viruses in your body or ailments, no matter who prepared the food. When you're on your way home, talk to God about, please, Lord, let me reach my home safe. And let all my family and friends and people, you know, in the world reach the world safe. Pray for other people's sins. Pray for the world. Pray for people that you don't know. When you walk in the house, thank God for Him making you reach your home safe. When you pick up your kids, thank God for allowing them to have another day of play in a safe environment and return back to you without any issues. When you're eating dinner, again, thank God for the food that you're able to have in your body and that it be nourishment again to your body. Before you go to sleep at night, thank God for getting through another day and allowing you to practice your ways with the world and ask that He bless you enough to get up in the morning to be able to do it again. And that you have a great night's sleep and that your body gets the rest that it needs to be able to wake up another day to carry out God's ways. You see how much you got to talk to God? Are you doing that? That's what it's about. It seems like a lot. It seems excessive. Only to somebody who doesn't have the ears or doesn't have the eyes. It's not excessive to a spirit. Your whole life is owed to God. What is your life? What is your flesh? What is your life? I feel everything you feel. I get afraid too sometimes. Call on God's name. And the strength comes and fear goes. And you do that each and every time until with repetition you become perfect at something. With repetition you perfect something. They taught you that. You put in 10,000 hours and this and all. All of these things, the concepts, all come from God. It's the same thing here. If you keep rebuking fear, if you keep rebuking anxiety, if you do it over and over and over, you're going to perfect it. You're going to become one with your spirit. Don't fear. Man can do some great things with God. What's impossible for man is not impossible. It's definitely possible with God. It's shown with Moses. You don't see a lot of us doing it because a lot of us ain't worthy. Or some of us might not be chosen. But you do have people that's chosen in the world that's doing some magnificent things, but you're not always going to be shown this because it evokes strength. So you're always going to be shown the things that evoke fear. You have some angels on this earth that's just doing what they do. They don't need the clout. They don't know what clout is. They're just angels. They're magnificent by right. And they're doing a lot of good things. And you're being shunned from that. But if you have it here, your spirit will let you know what's happening in the world. You don't have to be everywhere. The spirit will let you know what's happening in the world. You're not alone. God is way before He's way beyond your understanding. He tells you not to fear for a reason. And when in due time, you'll understand why He told you not to fear. In due time, you'll understand why He told you not to fear. In due time, God will never leave you, never forsake you. He already told you that. And in due time, you'll see why He's the truth. And evil knows the truth and wants to keep you away from it. This is not a spooky video. This is not something to scare you. This is something to make you understand who you are and how great you are and how big you are. You're huge. And with God, you can do anything that He wants you to do. Anything. You can move a mountain. If it's God's will and it's what God wants you to do, you can move a mountain with a touch. You can part waters. You can heal with God. So get up every day and just face whatever adversity. And just go through it. Don't worry about the next thing. Because the next thing is up to God. Pick up your children. Go to work until they say you have to work from home. If you're not allowed to work from home anymore, just tell God, all right, God, you see what's happening. Show me what to do. Because no matter what they lay on you, God's a billion steps ahead. Just ask God what to do next. Live your life, man. On that note, wow, I know, a lengthy video, but was it worth it? For those who took the time to actually watch this, was it worth it? I don't know, was it? Depending on who you are. Depending on who you are. Smile, man. It's all good. You're going to be alright, man. Just smile. Just smile, man. I love you all. God bless you all. Everything's going to be just fine. Don't worry about anything. It's all God's will. Don't worry about anything. It's all God's will. If He didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't happen. Focus on Him. I love you. I'm no perfect man. I'm just a work in progress. But God does speak to me. And I share. I'm supposed to. I have to. All right? I love you guys. You can subscribe to the channel if you want. If you don't like the content, you don't have to subscribe. I would like for you to leave comments because I do want to, create some conversations and talk about certain things. But I hope you guys gain something from the channel. And I love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video. It's The Gentleman's Look, and I'm signing out. See you off in style. Bye-bye.